Ben Carson spoke about abortion with Chuck Todd on Meet the Press, and it was ugly.
Whose right, I guess, should be superseded, the mother or the unborn child? Whose rights, who has greater rights?
In the ideal situation, the mother should not believe that the baby is her enemy and should not be looking to terminate the baby. You know, things are set up in such a way that the person in the world who has the greatest interest in protecting the baby is the mother. We've allowed the purveyors of division to make mothers think that that baby is their enemy and that they have a right to kill it. Can you see how perverted that line of thinking is?
What if somebody has an unwanted pregnancy? Should they have the right to terminate it?
No. Think about this. During slavery, and I know that's one of those words you're not supposed to say, but I'm saying it. During slavery, a lot of the slave owners thought that they had the right to do whatever they wanted to that slave, anything that they chose to do. And, you know, what if the abolitionist had said, you know, I don't believe in slavery. I think it's wrong. But you guys do whatever you want to do. Where would we be?
Definitively. Do you want to see Roe v. Wade overturned?
Ultimately, I would love to see it overturned.
And that means all abortions illegal, or is there still an exception that you would have?
I'm a reasonable person, and if people can come up with a reasonable explanation of why they would like to kill a baby, I'll listen.
Life and health of the mother?
Again, that's an extraordinarily rare situation. But if in that very rare situation it occurred, I believe there's room to discuss that.
Rape and incest?
Rape and incest, I would not be in favor of killing a baby because the baby came about in that way. And all you have to do is go and look up the many stories of people who have led very useful lives who were the result of rape.
What happened to small government, big guy? This is what these guys always tell us. Now, the Democrats want to get in your life and run things, and they like big government, centralized control of everything. You just said you're going to tell a rape victim that she has to carry the fetus to term. Don't you dare ever talk about big government to Democrats again, because at least when the Democrats talk about big government, they're talking about making things more efficient and supporting government programs that make sense and fix problems and have better outcomes, like universal health care, for example, or education or other things. He believes in small government except for when he doesn't, except for when he wants to tell women after they were raped that, sorry, you can't get an abortion because I say so. No, look at how extreme this guy is. Even when he's asked, what about the life and the health of the mother? He can't just say, yes, under those circumstances, you absolutely can get an abortion. He can't say it. He can't say it. If the mother's gonna die, he can't just say, yes. That's one example where, fine, I'm fine with it. He can't even say that. Why? Because deep down, does he really believe it? You tell me. At best, he's conflicted on it. At worst, his real answer is no, but he covers it up by acting like he's conflicted on it. He goes, well, there's room to discuss that. Oh, is there? There's room to discuss that. The mother's life is in danger. Nah, well, maybe we'll have the conversation. It's beyond ridiculous, man. Because, and you know why it's so crazy? Because you're actively avoiding the nuance of the situation at hand. So what I mean by that is, really, the moment of conception, boom, that's it. Conversation over. The thing has Second Amendment rights. The thing has the entire Constitution applies to it. The second you're done having sex, man. The second you're done having sex. But that's ridiculous, because we're talking about gametes and zygotes and embryos and pregestation fetuses. Now, I understand that there's a logical discussion to be had at some point along the way when you get to around viability, or as I always say, when the nervous system is created and then pain is involved. There's a reasonable conversation to be had there. And I'm open to having that discussion and having that debate. But when you say, no, I'm going all the way back to conception, the second you're done fucking, there's an old Bill Maher joke that goes, before the guy can light a cigarette and before the woman goes, how are you feeling? There's a third person in the room. No, there's not. It's literally a pile of goo. Okay, it's true. That's what it is. You can't say it has none of the characteristics yet of a human being. Now, over time, it will get to that point, but to not discuss the nuance of what it is at that moment means you are actively avoiding the nuance because you're an ideologue, because you're a partisan hack, because your mind is made up and you don't care about the detail of the conversation at hand. It is profoundly anti-intellectual. And this just shows you how, outside of the realm of respectability he is. And another thing I can't stand about Ben Carson is that every time he makes a dumb point, he puts on this face like, gotcha. Like, he'll ask a question that he thinks is like a question trapping Chuck Todd, and then he puts on the face like, no, wipe that smug-ass look off your face, because what you're saying is not a gotcha. You've totally bought into the far right-wing propaganda on abortion. And he said, quote, during slavery, I know that's one of those words you're not supposed to say, but I said it. No, but again, he's doing the old trick I just mentioned in the last segment, where now it's a common right-wing thing where you say something that's absurd and dumb, and then you say, well, don't be politically correct for disagreeing with me. Why are you being so politically correct? Why are you disagreeing with me? You're just being politically correct. No, I'm being correct. You can't compare abortion to slavery because that doesn't make sense, because that's not true. But he makes it seem like it's obvious and he's the only one saying it. No, the reason why very few people say it is because it's not obvious, because it's a dumb extreme thing to say. He compared pro-lifers to abolitionists. Abolitionists were fighting for people to have more rights. Today it's the pro-choicers who are fighting for people to have more rights, not the so-called pro-lifers. And again, I'm the guy who says I'm a moderate on the issue of abortion. I think there's a discussion to be had. I think you draw a line somewhere. I think you could talk about viability and stuff like that. But these guys, they're not nuanced in their take. They say conversation over the second you're done having sex, piss off. Well, that position is irrational. That's the argument I'm trying to get across to you right now, but they're just not going to get it through their thick heads. So, classic Ben Carson, and I really hope that people pay attention to shit like this that he's saying, because I don't think he's going to get through the primary, but if he does get through the primary, the American people need to know what he thinks about this stuff, because this is not what the American people believe in. We've shown the polls before on the show. When you ask the American people, hey, do you believe in abortion in all cases? Do you believe in abortion in some cases? Or do you believe all abortion should be banned? The lowest ranked answer is all abortion should be banned. The highest ranked answer is the nuanced take. In some cases, abortion should be legal. But what's above Ben Carson's position is every other position. People are more likely to say allowed in all cases and allowed in some cases than ban it in all cases. No, he's extreme. He's a fringe candidate. And just because he talks softly doesn't mean that he's making sense and doesn't mean he's rational.